this thing on. Hello, welcome to the MUSKOX Shop. We're behind the shop, and winter can't have all the fun. My name is John. I'll be your MC for this live stream as per usual. Couple of housekeeping notes. First of all, if you have a question, and you might have some questions, leave them in the comments. I am tracking it on one of my several screens here, so please, if you have a question for us, just want to say hi, we will shout out to you later on in the video. Yeah, and winter can't have all the fun. You'll find out what that means in a moment. But first of all, let's head over to these two extraordinary gentlemen.
Use that lightly. Zipper check quick. Yeah. Okay. Yep, we're good to go. Welcome, everybody. Super excited. Probably our favorite show to do every year. We get a chance to talk about what we've learned from operators and all the work that Ron, the research and development team, have done. His team, the marketing team, the sales team. It all comes together as we listen to our operators to make the best products available. We're very proud of our 25 models. We've had a great run with them. The 60, the 70-inch, and the 90-inch. But you've been working really hard for the last year.
Top secret. Oh, no secret anymore, huh?
No secret anymore. No more NDAs. We're just really excited to get into it with you guys, show off the new product to what everybody's been working on at MUSKOX. John and Peter are with us today. They do great videos for us. They'll be following us around, and they have a quick intro video to show off our 2684.
At MUSKOX, we never stop innovating. Never stop asking the question, how can we make our operators' lives better? Introducing the MUSKOX 2684 with all the features you've come to love, plus a groundbreaking twist. At the blower's heart is our new adjustable auger, which automatically maintains the perfect positioning for blowing, back dragging, or shearing ice. But it doesn't stop there. Rollers on the glide plate help protect delicate surfaces. A redesigned rubber cut edge grips snow and moisture better. A belt-driven full-width auger removes snow faster, more efficiently, and more. MUSKOX gets the job done faster. Run with the herd.
Quick answer to our first question. Squire Nelson, is there a dealer in Alaska? There is. His name is Shondor, and we'll have one of our sales team reach out to you. But Adam, Ron, for the first time ever, on live television, it's the 2684. This is so exciting. Off you guys go.
And for the 26.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's kind of like it's like a child to us, right?
Yeah.
Well, I am your child.
Yeah. Well,
So
this one behaves better than you.
Your fourth favorite child. This will be your fifth favorite child.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're super excited about it. It's the 2684. So we're going to get into detail. We're going to show off all the awesome features, right? We've learned a lot in the years of this business. We're now getting old in this industry, entering into our fifth season, but we're really excited. A lot of the input came from you guys as operators in testing. That video just nailed it, right? Focusing on the operators all the time and making their experience better. So let's get into it. John, you got some notes for us to follow. What are you seeing with the machine, and where do you want to lead the conversation with this thing?
First of all, I'm just noticing that auger looks quite bigger, girthier.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about that? What's going on with all that? It's noticeable.
Yeah, so we started off with a 78-inch, right? That's been our bread and butter. Then we went to a 90-inch and a 60-inch. We have now landed, as Peter can see, it's the 2684. So we're 84 inches wide from the outside of the machine to the outside of the machine. Where that's got some big advantages for us is that it's able to handle a lot of varieties of skid steers, right? So you guys as operators out there, you can still get our 90-inch. You can get our 78-inch, but what's neat about this 84-inch is it's going to handle mid-sized skid steers to wider-bodied skid steers. So we're really excited about that, and it's 84 inches. I think it's going to fit the market really well, and it's just going to give more opportunities for you as operators. So there's a few reasons that we're able to get 84 inches wide. I think, John, you got a few points for us to talk about that.
Yes, I do. And to those of you listening at home, apologies for the echo. and the bumps. Apologies for the echo. We are addressing that. Our usual audio guide is not here today. So first of all, looks like we've got some middle panels in that auger. Adam, why don't you go ahead and give us a little breakdown of what's going on with those paddles?
Well, I think they look cool, so that's about as much as I can add to it. But I guess I know a little bit more about that. But as we get the camera in there, Peter, if you want to get close to the middle of this auger, and let's start turning some things over to Ron here. Ron, why don't you talk about what you've accomplished here, what the goal was, and why we landed where we did.
Yeah, you bet. Wait, I want to get in the camera. Hi. Yeah, there are quite a few things with the auger. I start up with really the end of the auger. We got rid of the drive unit being within the housing, and that really reduces ice buildup, a big deal, and a lack of augering from the end of the shroud. So big gain here. We widened the auger out. I'll show you later how we did that. So the flighting comes right along the end of the housing. The center paddles, we worked with that for quite a while to get the blower to keep from surging. So we ended up curving the paddles, and what that does, it still loads the fan, but it allows it not to surge where you're forcing and forcing snow. You see the curvature allows it to be like a slip clutch. Works real well. So that's the reason for that cool curved center paddles. There's 3 of them, and they have teeth on them to help chew up ice and snow also.
So how cool is that? We've all been out there as operators, surge less with the MUSKOX 2684. It has everything to do with that middle panel as it's grabbing that snow and it's more consistent. So it's super cool feature, gonna surge a lot less with the blower, and that's all done by experience. Ron, you talked a bit about with that motor, but I want you to get a little bit more into what's happening on the outside of the machine. It's a great feature. When you guys are out doing your snow removal, we don't want snow stopped here. We want it feeding all the way through. So why don't you talk a little bit more about that?
I don't know, Peter, if you can come in here, you'll see the end of the auger flighting follows right alongside the housing. In the past, we were in, and a lot of blowers do have the drive. It's simple, straightforward drive. Nothing wrong with it, but the problem was it didn't clean snow real well from the end by the end panel. The other thing that we did here is made this auger come out just with a single fastener on each end. You want both that. The auger comes in or out for service or change out or getting at the fan. Really makes it handy to work on. Again, input from really our dealers and end users, serviceability. Everybody give us input. Drive that, and we've I think all these ideas have come not just from us but from our end users and dealers.
100%. So you guys are going to see a lot of video seeing this in action, right? So we've been out testing it. There's people that have been testing this blower for us. It's worked outstanding all over the United States. But you're going to watch that consistent snow feeding in the middle, so you guys as operators can get through your snow quicker, faster, and either get onto another job or get home a little bit earlier. So that auger setup is just absolutely outstanding. I'm going to skip around on John for a second here and come over to the back of the machine. So there's no longer a motor sitting here, right? There used to be a motor here. Now you've hit it somewhere on the back of the machine, right under our leveling wheel, but there is the motor. Why don't you go through that a little bit?
Yeah, so the biggest deal here was to get the auger to float and follow the ground. Staying 1.5 inches off the ground as we rotate the blower or go in a forward position to help feed problem snow, I'll call it wet snow or wet surfaces. So we attack that aggressively. This arm pivots in the back and everything rotates up out of the way, works very well. We have a gas nitrogen charged shock in here that keeps the auger from bouncing. Also it has some spring pressure that helps hold the auger down when you get into hard compressed snow.
How cool is that, right? So Peter, let's get around here again. We got to really talk about this auger. So one of our, as you would call it, design criteria, right, to this machine is we wanted to consistently have an auger that stayed close to the ground. So as you can see on the new MUSKOX, the auger actually sits outside the shroud of the machine. So as we get close in here, that auger now comes out to be able to aggressively attack wet, heavy snow, right? You guys have that. It's in different markets. We all deal with it at different times. The solution to that is the auger getting into the snow faster. The challenge with the muskox was that we have this awesome patented back drag and blow feature. So we needed to have the first ever that we could find adjustable auger. And when I say adjustable, it adjusts itself based on gravity and the changing of the shroud position. So you're creating a moving part, but you're really not creating a moving part as the arms are following with the machine. So that's pretty outstanding. John was just looking for me here.
Well, you know, we got a question about the auger, about the fan, about the whole system, and it's actually from some students. So a guy named Colin Schaefer is on there. How you doing? And his students had a question. They want to know, does the new auger with the fan, does it ever clog up? I know it doesn't. So I'm wondering if, one, we could talk a little bit about why it doesn't clog up, Ron, a lot of the R&D that you did. And then also, I think we have a video, if you ever, at any point, if you want to see the video of showing what that auger, how that adjusts, I got that on cue for you as well. All right, so Ron, over to you.
Yeah, I think one of the big additions, you know, the auger being outside, towards the outside of the housing, obviously keeps the snow moving to the center. The curved paddles in the center help to keep that surging and overloading the fan. I'm not saying you can plug anything. I mean, it's happened very seldom, but yeah, that is the main feature on here to help reduce clogging is that auto slip clutch. As that auger comes around, you could see if it were directly pushing it into the fan and it had no chance to escape. Now it slides out, allows the snow to be released and quits forcing it into the fan. So good question. Yes, we attacked that as well as we could.
How cool is that, right? Like, we're innovating, moving forward to customers all over the United States. So combination of things, we have the center, and then focusing on that auger, whatever position you're in, forwards, backwards, whatever position you're within a muskox, consistently being 1.5 inches off the ground, and then the auger being away from the cutting edge, right? Combination of things that worked outstanding. I think we have some video maybe showing how that works. In operation, you were saying.
So why don't you guys talk about what we're seeing here and what you've done to make this 1.5-inch guarantee possible inside the auger.
Could share with it as you're doing that, you'll see the wheel. We didn't talk about that. Underneath the floating arm is a wheel that rolls, so as you roll down the surface, you're not scratching or scraping or wearing out UHMW. There are wheels that roll along with the ground surface, so you can kind of notice that in that video that you're showing.
So it really comes down to a combination of things, right? The goal was to be able to get through that snow. You guys are seeing it, but it's really innovative. We're really proud of it here at Muskox, having the ability to have an auger that follows the ground, not just by the shroud rotating and moving into the machine. So it's really exciting. And we're going to get into some other features on this, Ron.
That's pretty cool, that picture,
happen.
how it shows that. Good job, whoever came up with that. That does really show what's going on.
That was 100% Peter.
I want to see that one more time. That is spot on.
Yeah.
Peter, you do an outstanding job. So yeah, watching that, right? Video's worth 1,000 words, but it's very exciting keeping that shroud close to the ground. So we're very excited about that accomplishment here at Muskox and what you guys have done with that. John, as we move on, are we moving to the back of the machine, or where do you want us to go next? I think we got some in the back, but what would you like to see us go next?
Why don't we talk a little bit? There used to be a chain inside the shroud. Where'd the chain go? That'd be an interesting question. And also, hi, Brad. Brad's saying hi to you guys, so I wanted Brad to know we had seen him. So what happened to the, where's the chain, and what do we have instead?
I can talk about that. We used to always run 2 augers, and the reason for that was back dragging because our auger didn't move up into its critical zone. So as you'll notice, we increased the diameter of the auger, And as you back drag, the auger comes up into the housing, gets in the optimum position. So we only need to run one auger. The chain is in here. It's actually a cog belt drive. It's inside this enclosed housing. Nice part about that, no maintenance, no adjusters, just runs for the life.
So I think that's been feedback as operators, was a goal that we had. So we've been a company, we still have our dual augers available, but what's really neat about those single augers, all of you that have followed us from the beginning, right? We were a 2-auger setup. What has happened now with this auger, as you guys can see in that video, it rotates. So when you're in the blow position, that auger's down in the snow. As you start to rotate the machine to go into the back drag position, the auger's following the machine, so now the auger's hitting the snow as it's back dragging. So it's super innovative.
Well said.
It's very hard to show it off all the time, right? So these videos, we got to lean into these videos, but watch those, that auger following you as you rotate
in that
and
video
going.
there, the auger comes forward, so it's like you say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, just seeing that, and I keep looking at it. Great job. That really really explains it to me.
This is going to go from your 5th child to your 2nd favorite child pretty quick as we were talking about it, but super proud of it, just absolutely outstanding. John, any questions that you have for us, or can we move on to some other exciting features with the MUSKOX 2684?
Everyone's just saying hi at the moment. We don't have any questions, but I could prompt you with a few things that you wanted me to ask you about. Sure. Okay, well, as I'm looking at the blower here, I'm noticing that you can see through it. There's some visibility through it. So what are some of the little changes we've made, some of the little R&D adjustments to make this blower that much better for operators, that much more innovative? So I'll throw that over to you guys.
We could go through the evolution of how those holes started and where we ended up, but that's...
Well, I did. Maybe it's kind of an interesting story. Adam, he climbed out of the loader, stepped on the back. We have a traction piece on the back of the blower. He stepped up on the housing and slipped. And he said, "Dad, put some traction on there." Well, I said, "Oh, I'm going to go one better. I'm going to open up the shroud housing and I can see through it and put traction on." So it did a couple of things. So that's how that ended up. I don't know, Peter, if you can see it from this angle. The biggest, 2 different things. Traction when you step off the blower. And when you are driving the loader, whatever you're driving with, you can see through that screen on each side. And it just gives you a comfort. I've run blowers a lot, and I still get a comfort out of seeing the auger turning. I can see out through it what's in front. Just makes me feel better running the piece of equipment.
100%. So what a neat feature. Ron said it well. You did one better than me, but that's the way that works, and I love it. But there's a good hole right there. So you guys as operators, right, when you're coming up to the garage door, super neat feature. Watch through those holes, and we'll cut the video so people can see that. But watch through those holes so you can see as you're getting close to the garage door. The other thing is that you've talked about when you're watching through those holes, you're controlling the speed in which the machine is taking on the snow, because it's very easy for early operators. So let's talk a little bit about you guys running big operations.
Good point.
You're hiring new operators, right? They're hard to find. So the new operators, a big thing with the MUSKOX is the training, right? We know all about the leveling wheel. Now when we're seeing these holes coming through it, is that you're watching the consistency of that snow. Because anybody that buries in a snowblower, they can get the thing to clog up from that earlier question. So that's pretty outstanding. It allows operators to watch through those holes, and it can train your new staff faster when running a MUSKOX snowblower.
Well said. Very true.
Now,
I like that a lot. When we're looking at the back of the machine, when we're back here real quick, John, I do want to touch on this. You talked on these arms. I mean, how cool does this look? I mean, it's got the look, it's got the feel, it looks tough, it looks like a MUSKOX should. But this color that you're seeing, it's not silver paint, is it?
No.
What are we leaning into here? All of our Canadian friends, you're gonna love this, but what are we leaning into here, Ron?
Yeah, hot dip galvanized, and a lot of people that are familiar with that understand you dip it in a galvanized solution under high temperature, it fuses to the metal, inside and outside and around in the cracks and crevices. So a highly durable surface. we chose to put it on this arm and on our back bracket where you attach the skid loader. In the past, it didn't really matter a lot. When you hooked up, you'd scratch the surface, and just didn't like the look of that. So we chose to hot dip galvanize this back bracket and the arm.
Gentlemen.
Do you think in the future, real quick, Ron, do you think we'll ever have a galvanized blower?
Well, maybe.
John, what do you got for us?
Could be.
What do you got for us?
So, gentlemen, one question I was wondering, can we show them how we have improved the glide plate? We now have a new aspect to the glide plate. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up.
Thanks, John. Yes.
So we've brought in a wheel. So we've kind of seen this. A few other people have had a wheel. We don't have a wheel. We don't have one wheel. We have how many wheels?
4 wheels. We spaced them evenly across the snowblower. You can see down through the hole here, Peter, too. Yeah,
That's kind of dirty under there. We'll focus on this one.
Anyway, so that seriously reduces, well, it eliminates the wear. You know, we used to run UHMW and that would wear out. You can drive up and down a bare blacktop or concrete or cobblestone or anything with these rollers, and they keep rolling. They don't scratch or do damage like any sliding surface would do.
I love it. And there's 4, like you talked about, there's 4 different wheels. So let's see, I haven't been doing too many squats, but we'll try. Peter, you do that. We'll get underneath the machine if we can. Like Ron was saying earlier, we got 1 on the corner, 1 towards the middle, a second. We got the 3rd wheel hit underneath there, and the 4th all the way over here. And Ron, why don't you talk a little bit about what the wheels are? When you guys are watching this, you're probably wondering, are these wheels going to wear? Am I going to have issue with these wheels? Do I have to replace these wheels? Good natural questions, because we focus all the time on this machine of trying to be as low maintenance as we can. So why don't you talk a little bit about the wheel that you put on there?
Well, they've been highly durable. You got up, Peter, there? She said. He could have helped you a little bit there. You got a heavy camera. Yeah, the wheels, they do have a bearing in them, a needle or roller bearing, and they are greasable. The way I've been testing them is running them dry to see if the bearing would last, and I have not failed a wheel. I feel really good about it. They are rubber coated, a cast steel hub on the wheel. Just like the up front wheel, they're highly similar. The back ones are a 4-inch, the front ones are a 6-inch wheel. And yeah, been really proved out to be highly durable, and I can't believe it when it rolls over. Yesterday, Adam was out here watching me go on some dry, granulated, gravelly blacktop here in Mentor, Minnesota. We haven't put new asphalt down for 20 years probably, you know, so it's a little rough and chewed up. I'm able to run up and down those roads back and forth without causing wear.
I love it. It's a great feature. Not going to lie to you, I was not a fan of it at first, and it has absolutely won me over. I was 100% wrong. So Courtney, if you're watching, I do say that every once in a while. I was 100% wrong. We've been testing that for a long time. It's just been absolutely outstanding. Again, wear points are very important for operators. We want to be spending time out doing snow removal, not fixing on equipment. So we're always considering that, and those wheels are another great feature at MUSKOX that really ends up helping that out. When we're over on this side of it, I know we have a video, and it's time to get us to quit talking a little bit, but we get excited
That's a pretty
about
exciting stuff.
Our second child is right here. Yeah. On this side, we've made some changes here. We've used UHMW in this point before. Why don't you talk about what we've learned, what maybe you've learned as you've evolved with this point of where we ended up at?
Yeah, in the past we've run UHMW for reasons to pierce through snow. What we learned and through discussion was putting belting on. This can flex, so when you are back dragging, it'll just bend out of the way. And the wear factor of this is, I'm going to use the number 10 times what the UHMW was. So really happy with how that has worked for us for durability. We do have a UHMW bumper guard here. The only reason we drop the blower straight down, it's to protect the auger so you aren't grinding on the ground. But this generally does not run on the surface, it's on this wheel, you know, so you aren't wearing that. Yeah.
I really like the look of that galvanized, by the way, on the side, and there's our 2684. John, I think you have a video that highlights some of those features that we're talking about. You want to play it away.
I can do that for you. And also I want to say we have 40 people joining us today. So thanks for everyone. If you have a question, drop it in the comments and we'll get to it as quickly as we can. With that, walk us through what the MUSKOX, what all this adds up to in a real world situation. This is from out in Idaho. What have we got going on here?
That was a good question. I wasn't there. Oh, now we know. Fernando. Now I know where we're at. So this is, we chase snow, right, to do testing for you guys to know exactly how the product works. So this is the 2684 cleaning up a driveway right now. It's coming up, right? That's some wet snow, and you guys are going to see our back drag and blow feature, which is patented where MUSKOX started. Watch it as it cleans up that driveway. Does an outstanding job. We've always been very proud of that. That's where this company started. But sometimes you have to improve on your product. We're very proud of the 25 model. It's outstanding. It's still available for customers. But we leaned in a bit on our rubber cutting edge. How cool are those shots? The night shots.
Really neat.
That's usually when snow removal happens right there. That's too, right? At night, early in the morning. And we appreciate all you operators that are out there opening up so school districts can open, so we can get to work. You guys are chasing that snow in the night, early mornings, and we appreciate the heck out of the job you guys do for our communities and us as individuals. So I think we ran through that video. We'll hop over to Peter's and be able to talk about that top rubber cutting edge. This has also been something that we evolved on, right, Ron? Yeah. We started with something different. We've evolved over time. We've tried different products on top. We love our rubber. But why don't you talk about leaning into the changes that we've made and where we landed with the rubber cutting edge?
Yeah, Adam, in the past, do you remember when we first started, we ran a steel up here, steel cut edge. We'd back drag, we'd scratch. And we went to rubber. And we had slots in the rubber, and worked great. Really not any big issue. The one thing it did though, when you backed up, the rubber gave up pretty easy and would flex. So we created a new holder that holds, I don't know if you can see underneath here, Peter, the back is set back, the top is set forward. So when you back drag, the rubber has a real hard time folding back. That gives you a better, more aggressive cut when you're back dragging and cleaning. The other thing that we did here, this is a rubber strip. There's no slots in it. You loosen up these fasteners, you can pull it out, shove it back in, right up against a bumper, no adjustment needed, tightened up. So you can run 4 different corners of the cut edge like we could in the past. Just simpler, easier to change out, does a better job, more aggressive really is what I'd say. The other rubber worked great. It just wasn't as aggressive as I wanted it to be. So that's how we landed with this.
I absolutely love it, and I'm a huge fan of the rubber. I was not a fan of the steel. It might have been right in that area at one time, but this rubber, as you guys see in videos, it's like any product that continues to improve. It has been our feature that we started off that separated us in the market. But now you guys are going to watch with that squeegee. There's just more down pressure. You guys that have current MUSKOXs, it's changed up top. It's pinched in. It's holding that rubber stronger. And as you guys talk about, we'll probably edit this, but it's all about the scrape, right? You guys as operators all the time, it's all about the scrape. Does it scrape? How does it scrape? What they've done with this, and you guys will see some 3D images at different times of what Ron, his team, what MUSKOX has done. We're really proud of that, and we've seen a very nice improvement on that. We were good, and we took a step forward.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty outstanding.
Exactly.
So big compliments to you guys when it comes to that.
Beautiful. Now, one thing, we got some chairs out here for you. You guys have been standing for a bit. You've already teased the new product that they haven't, it was in the background of one of your shots there, Adam. You stood between Peter and the fun summer surprise. But would you guys like to talk a little bit about the process of talking with operators and how you've gone into working with them and how these changes have affected. I know we've sent out a lot of these machines to operators, various versions of the 2684. What have the conversations with operators been like, and what changes to the machine have come about as a direct result of operators and their feedback? So I'll start with you, Adam, but of course I know Ron will have a lot to say about this.
I mean, where do you start? I mean, you think about this product first ever started, we talked about it started off as a need for a residential person to get his snow removal done and a commercial person with rental properties, right? So it started with that very basis of an idea to make a better product for that. But it's really evolved with our operators in being open with ourselves, honest with ourselves, because when it gets into engineering, marketing, you got to be real confident in yourself. You have to have an idea that you're willing to follow above and beyond anybody else. And you almost have to follow a path, right, to do that. But you have to understand when to pivot. And our pivoting usually comes from our operators that are out using the machines. And I think one of them that we could talk about right now that was feedback was as we moved into these augers, we built the initial snow blowers for people in the Midwest because we're Midwest people. And then we started to learn as we went, hey, this is a product that's not just going to sell in the Midwest. We want to attack the market on the East Coast, the West Coast, and Alaska into Canada. So we started to evolve. So I think one of the big evolutions with the 2684 and listening to customers is really that adjustable auger that I still am just so excited about engineering-wise. You played a big role. Got to give a big shout out to your youngest son, my little brother Noah, with ideas that he had to it. It's absolutely outstanding. But talk a little bit about customers and why we lowered that auger and maybe some feedback we had.
Yeah, that, it's like anything that you build. I learned this from Roger Skyme, who I used to work for. He always said, if it's a problem, deal with it. Don't run from it, face up to it. And we did have a little trouble when we got into wet snow with our older models, which we still build. They work great in most conditions, but you got into sloppy, wet snow that was 2 inches thick, 3 inches thick on a warm surface. It's warm out, the snow would slide. It's like if you took a shovel and pushed the snow would slide in front of you. The way to fix that we realized was get the auger close to the ground. So that's really where this design came from. It was, just eating crow, saying, hey, we need to do this. How do we get it done? And that was the evolution of this project. So it took a few long nights in the shop to get it done, and we've been really successful. It's really working well, highly durable.
It led to a few phone calls where we hung up on each other as well, but that's all right. It's all about the operator making it better. John, you raised your hand.
So I got a question from Squire, who's up in Alaska. I'm kind of seeing a progression here where he asked, is there a dealer? He's now asking, what size machine can handle the 2684? And specifically the question is, what is the smallest machine that it fits on? So if you guys could speak a little bit. Ron, why don't you tackle this one? Tell us a little bit about size.
Well, maybe a good way to say that, this 2684, we run it on a toolcat, and it handles it very well. You get smaller, you get into a real light chassis, the mass of loader. I don't remember the exact weight of it. Do you remember it right off? I want to say a number, but I'm going to be wrong. We're about 50 pounds heavier than we were with our 78-inch blower from last year. 50 pounds isn't a lot, but when you get into real light chassis, you have to look at the lift and weight capacity of the loader, number one. Then number two is hydraulic flow. The higher the flow, the more aggressive you can be with the machine. We do set them up to match your machine. We run multiple different motors depending on your flow. We do set that up at the factory for you, and like I said, the more flow, the more aggressive you get. We still can run down to 15 gallons a minute and right on up to 45 to even 50 gallons a minute. depending on what motor you put on them.
I think Ron nailed it, right? So he's talking about the machine. The blowers weigh more as they go up. The 2684 is going to be just over 1,300 pounds. It lands in a good space for any brand of skid steer, to answer that question, John. Love you guys are listening to us in Alaska. Still blows my mind that people are catching us up there. But for that person asking that question, if you have a machine that's going to be 15 gallons per minute all the way to 50 gallons per minute, that's the biggest concern, right, is the gallons per minute. We have different motor sizes so that we're able to fit that skid steer. So real quick answer to that, 15 to 50 gallons per minute, we're ready to rock with you. We'll work with you to find out the skid steer you're using, to put the right motor on it so it's as efficient as it can be. When we talk about that efficiency, it's all about the tip speed with the different fans that come into it. So it's been that way with MUSKOX for a while. And then if you do get down to our 60-inch, which is an outstanding machine, with smaller articulating machines, we're getting down into that 12 gallons per minute range. So great question.
Now, two things. I know that we want to introduce a new product at some point, so I want to let you know we can do that soon. However, Andy was wondering, Andy Ghost is wondering if you can have one for free. So I'll let you guys, on the count of three, you can just verbally or non-verbally indicate what the answer is.
Well, the answer would be different if our CFO wasn't sitting right over there staring at me right now, shaking his head. And he's got hair and I don't, so he lives a cleaner life than we do.
Can we get
but
a
he's
shot
over
of
there
Bob?
shaking his head. So Andy, we love you. Maybe we can find a free stocking cap for. There's Bob.
There's Bob.
Where's that head shake that I just saw? There. Oh, and a thumbs down. That's kind of in between.
There was a show on TV where they used to go to a Bob guy, where they'd, it was the banker, and it was where you had to beat this guy. He knew everything.
Sure.
Anyway, it kind of had that same move as Bob.
Yeah, yeah. What was that?
So I guess I can't answer. It sounds like we'd be outvoted even if we wanted to.
Always nice when Bob can be the bad guy.
Yeah, there you go.
And we're pretty good at MUSKOX. You reach out to us, there's probably a hat in your future, Brad. We love you following our product and enjoying it.
All right.
That was Andy, though. It wasn't
Oh, Andy, sorry.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Anyway, Andy, Brad.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I think within that blower, I think we touched on a lot of it. A lot of what we're doing today, so you guys that are watching, is we're building content to put commercials out there to push forward our product. And that 2684, I want to close that thing up right before we get behind us to something that's going to carry us through the summer. It's been a labor of love with that product. Real excited about it. Damn proud of you. Damn proud of everybody involved,
Everybody involved.
Very proud of our customers for reaching out to us to do it. But we're just ready to launch and take that super aggressive step forward with the 2684. And we love the fact we still have our 25, 60, 78, and 90, right? So we're a
Good
price
product.
point opportunity for each one of our customers with that. So I think that's kind of what I got to say. What do you got to say to wrap up with that new product?
There's a couple of things that, as we walked around the blower, I got to think there's features galore that, we won't dig too deep on all the things that are going on. But I remember when we built a few blowers ago, curb guards. You remember when we had to put big washers on the outside as guys ran alongside curbs? If you'll notice on our blower, we did put, you can come on over here, Peter. I think this is a big feature for you guys that are running along curbs. This arm, you see it move up and down. We've got a heavy-duty curb guard that mounts right to the main chassis for when you bump into curbs or run alongside curbs. I think that's, I guess it's a testament to people giving us input. Fan housing. Thickening up the fan housing. Now we are a 1/4 inch thick. We're at the top of the industry with the standard on our fan housing. So I guess I encourage any input that we can get from people on features or things that you see. We like to react and help you have a better product. So
Before we get into our summer product, I do want to jump back. I don't know if that camera's still working or not, but I do want to jump back and be able to look at, we didn't touch on that flow regulator.
Oh,
I think it's a
sure.
really big thing for that allows, and this has to do with the question we had earlier about the machine. What sizes does it work? How does that all operate? Let's get back there and look at that flow regulator and talk that through, Ron.
yeah.
This is available, so when you guys watching, this is available on the 25 model
yeah,
along
we'll
with the
convert 'em
26.
out,
So
yeah.
the 25's got this along with the 26, but get into that a little bit.
And we can convert 24s out. What it is inverter block. So we run full hydraulic flow to the motor. After the motor, the flow is reduced to the block and to the auger. And excess fluid after that is dumped back to tank on your skid loader. What that does, what first happened, there was only so much room for a motor out in the auger housing. So when you had a high flow loader or a low flow loader, the auger would speed up as the flow went up. So what this does, it brings the auger speed down so they're all equal. And it happens to be 270 RPM. Where in the past, they'd spin up really too fast, really caused vibration and was a little bit of a negative deal. So this can be added on to any unit that somebody might have out there. It's give us a call and we'll help you out. Just a couple hoses and away you go.
Consistency really wins, right, Ron? So it's that consistent speed of that auger that we have found. That's what wins when doing snow removal. So the consistent speed of the auger, consistency wins. We love that we leaned on to that.
And I did see one other thing we kind of forgot. It's wild when you're doing live.
But talk over here on this side how we're able to adjust
Here's
two skid steers. And I want to say something real quick on this when everybody's watching. Is not all skid steers are created equal. They're all different brands. And what Ron's going to talk about, if they have pins on their arms that all have different heights. So if you guys as operators are out running a John Deere with snow tires, you guys know that machine's higher in the air, meaning the pins on your arms are higher in the air compared to if you had that same John Deere and didn't have snow tires, it's going to be lowered. And every brand's got a little bit different of a height. Now you could ignore that and try to not lean into that. We've leaned into that at MUSKOX and just really proud of what at MUSKOX we've come up with. So Ryan, why don't you walk through that of how that works?
When everything's done, it looks very simple, which it is. So it's simple to adjust. We have a retainer collar. I think you can see it through here, Peter, that holds the nylock flange nuts. So you don't need to put a wrench on that side. You put a wrench on this side, loosen all three fasteners on each side, and thing can slide up and down. Really easy to adjust. The big thing now is the inspiration when somebody buys one of our blowers, they get into their drive unit. And like Adam said, you get a toolcat, we put our big tall snow tires on it. Now the blower wouldn't be at the right pitch or right attitude. So what it does, we give direction how you set the arms way down on your drive unit, have these loose, the blower slides to the perfect position. You tighten it up. Now when your operator or yourself, you go out, you know where the blower is for angle for cutting into gravel or grass or on different substrates. You ride on these wheels, everything's flat and level. So yeah, that's a real big deal. We used to have it, there was adjustment, but you had to remove bolts. And it was hard to coordinate that adjustment. So everybody that buys this new blower will get direction on how to set that, and very simple to set.
Unfortunately for Ron, he has a son, this son that needs everything user-friendly. So this user-friendly thing on it's just outstanding. I really love, one more time seeing this galvanized plate is super great. You guys are gonna love the fact it's galvanized. It's gonna rust less. I mean, I just absolutely love this. I love the look. I know what it's gonna mean for you guys as operators. But this galvanized plate needs to hook up to something. John, do we have anything that we could hook up this galvanized plate to?
Yes, we do. And I'm going to roll that tape right now.
This deal is awesome. This deal has just worked great for me.
It's time to level up your skid steer. The standard quick attach plate is a problem.
Stay straight, so when it go like that, then it stops.
The new MUSKOX T-Tach uses 4 torsion tubes to keep your attachments on the ground, providing down pressure while absorbing bumps.
So what it does, when it comes this way, just flip up and back on.
The T-Tach improves your skid steer, increasing attachment performance while making your ride more comfortable. Don't just hold your equipment, help your equipment.
I used to really enjoy having my summers off. My
Here we
golf
go, huh?
game's gonna go to hell. All the things, because selling snowblowers, we don't work in the summer.
No, there's nothing going on.
Oh wait, maybe that's the busiest time.
Yeah.
But now what's really cool is we get to talk to those operators. Oh, we got to move the camera guy a little bit. There we go. We get to talk to those operators during the summer, which is just outstanding. So this has been a brainchild of yours, another child, might be the #1 favorite child, but we're pretty excited about this. So I'll start with the name. It's called the T-Tach, which is for torsion attachment. But why don't you lean into this? I guess I'll say it's galvanized.
Yeah.
I love that. We're talking on that. It hooks up to the plate of that back of that blower. But why don't you run with this and why we really think we're going to change the world?
Well, yeah, I think we are. This is an exciting product. The challenge was I'd go run equipment, and the foot feet of the drive unit usually be real stable to the ground or the surface that you're running on, which usually is ground. Mm-hmm. And anyway, then whatever attachment you ran, especially if it got wide, it wouldn't follow the contour. So I got thinking about, geez, well, I don't know if Adam remembers, about 4 years ago on a snowblower, I put a pivot device so the thing would float. It worked great on the hard concrete, but I got out into uneven surfaces and it'd go where it wanted to go. You lift it up and it'd tip like this. So then I started thinking about, God, if I put some kind of a resilience in there, torsion type deal. I looked at torsion axles, bending beams, different things, and we landed on a rubber type, just like if you had a skid loader, we could look at ASV underneath on their suspensions, they have torsion. On trailers, heavy duty trailers are torsion axles. So we took that concept and made it into an attachment and we really compressed it down so it only adds 7 inches to the length of your attachment on your skid loader or whatever your drive unit is. Therefore, you hook it up and you can hook up to any attachment that uses a standard skid steer attachment. You can either leave it on. We have a manual attachment like you'd have if you didn't have hydraulic controls on your loader. And so you can leave it on there, quick detach, pull away from it, leave it on the attachment or detach it and go to the next attachment. There was a few problems that I had. At first, the idea is, okay, we want to go up and down following contour. Well, then the next thing was, how would you allow it to twist? So you'll see that we've got ball joints and slide pins, so the thing has multiple directions of movement. I was absolutely amazed myself when I went out and ran it the first time. The prototype looked quite different from this, took a little more room, and then we kept compressing it down. The other thing that it does, it silences when you're running, like I know box scraper, box pusher for snow. I bought it many years ago. I just didn't use it because I'd go out in the yard and there'd be a little swale and the drive unit spin out, it leaves snow. Now I use that all the time. It just follows the ground, so I don't need any extreme fancy hookup. This does it all. Harley rake. I go out, running a Harley rake. It used to be, on the flat it worked great because you have wheels out in front in your drive unit, but you'd go through a ravine and just eat in. Now it just follows the contour. So pretty excited. I don't even know all the places this will end up getting used. You put on a jackhammer or vibrating roller, you know, before my arms would just shake on my loader, it takes the shake and vibration out of it. So just, we don't even know yet all the places this will end up being on. So I'm pretty excited about it, I'd have to say.
Yes, you are very excited about it, and you deserve to be excited about it. So Ron's using it for a few of his examples, but what I think is really cool about the T-Tach is it's not about the attachment, it's about your drive unit. So right now you guys have had stationary plates forever. You have your quick attach plate that is very stationary. It sits just like this. It is then your attachment that either is very stiff or maybe has some type of opportunity to flex up and down with it. So when you lean into the T-Tach, we've taken that quick attach plate, we've added onto it, so now it can twist and move and follow the ground for any attachment you want to use. Some really highlight that feature as you're going out there because like Ron said earlier, most attachments that you run are spending a lot of time on the ground, and typically that ground's uneven. So follow the contours of the ground, and it really leans into, as I say about Ron all the time, he's a 1% operator. I am not. And this makes me more comfortable when I'm driving different drive units. John, I think you have, no, and I also, before I say this video that pulls up, I want to say thank you to all of you that have been testing the T-Tach. We have had this T-Tach all over the United States. We've had it in Canada. We've had it in all sorts of different markets. So thank you to everybody that's been a part of the T-Tach, testing it for us, proving out this concept. And we'll talk a little bit later about what they're absolutely loving. But I think we have a video with one of our operators that was using the T-Tach.
Now, before we get to the video, we do have that video. Outdoor Solutions has just told us on Facebook that the T-Tach is a game changer. Can't wait to try it with other attachments this spring. And I think that does speak to what you were mentioning, that this T-Tach will make skid steers so much more functional. You sink a ton of money into a skid steer, you want it to be as useful as possible, and then you spend all this extra time trying to make sure that Ron's saying, oh, it's uncomfortable to use this attachment, or this attachment doesn't flex the way I want it to, or whatever. You'd think the skid steer would come with this built in. Well, now you can. We've got something that really, really is special, and operators are really, really loving it. So without further ado, we're going back to meet Fernando, our buddy in Idaho, who really, really enjoyed his use of the T-Tach.
This deal is awesome. This deal has just worked great for me. And when MUSKOX bringing me this deal, oh my goodness, it's worked great for me. Before, what happened, it's not stable, so it stays straight. So of course, in the bottom, the bucket, that's when it hurt. That's when it touch anything hard. So when it go like that, it hurt and it stops. So I wish I had that before I broke my ribs. And now the new, the T-Tach, so what it does, when it comes this way, just flip up and back on, whatever is supposed, the position. I broke my ribs a couple years ago because that, is pushing too hard. So with MUSKOX bringing me this new attachment, so I put it on. Oh, it's so smooth. It levels to where the ground is, and then so it helps to stabilize with the hard parts in the road, and when you clean up, so it stabilizes the ground, so hurt. It's not hard to push or you heard big bumps or like that, like before I did. So it really helps me a lot. This year, I'm going to use it in my road, level my gravel. So I'm going to try that, see how it works. So I just had this one for this year, so I'm going to try this summer, see how it works. But I will do it. I will try to do it and smooth my road. Because I use them back and I don't have a grader and all that, so it sounds like this deal. I'm going to try using it to do that.
What do you think of Adam?
Oh, Adam is awesome.
How long have you known Adam? How did you meet him?
I met a couple of years ago when they bring the snow blowers. That's when I met Adam. And he has the attitude to, friendlyship, and it's in his talk. So that's why I like it. You can feel the spirit and the personality. So I don't mind, a lot of people meet, but I really like it when it's people like that. And they're always welcome.
So I've got to say, Fernando did a great job for us. He truly was a special host out in Idaho, and he's been a great operator. He's built a multi-building operation out there, and all the furniture he makes by himself. So he's a great guy. I don't know if you saw his finger there, but he's paid a little price for his craftsmanship. But Ron, he mentioned that he was going to. We saw him pushing it with a box, and he's going to use it on his road with a bucket later. So Ron, tell us a little bit about some of the general applications, the improved functionality of the skid steer that's going to come with the T-Tach.
Yeah. First, thanks, Fernando. I don't know if you're listening, but great guy. Appreciate you and all the others testing this product for durability, function, and honest feedback. That's, I think, something anytime we put out product to learn on, we appreciate the bad with the good because it helps us become better. So appreciate all you guys' input. With that said, I know when Fernando was running that, he had, I don't know if probably a 12-foot wide economical pusher that he was using it on. Like I talked about earlier, you get that width, and the outside tries to lift up and your loader spins out. He has a wheel loader and you'd lose traction. And I seen that the first thing, he really loved that. And then the silence, like Fernando brings up, that's something that the first test I did out in the yard here, I noticed it just quieted down the piece of the attachment you put on in front of it. Like he's gonna learn this summer when he goes out to grade his road, that push box that, like I said, I have one that just would sit in my backyard. I didn't use it. I would go out when I was testing this summer on gravel roads or out to our gravel pit where it'd be real rough. I'd set the pusher down, which has feet going forward, so it wouldn't gouge into the ground at all, and that would just follow. You just drive. You didn't even have to think about what you were doing. And I was just like, wow, we got something here. So yeah, that's my testimonial, which maybe don't mean a whole lot, but I'm selling them, right?
A lot. Yes, sir.
I got to turn your mics off so my booming voice doesn't echo, Adam, but wanted to say John Borg has told us that this is going to save a lot of toolcat arms. And so I think maybe we can talk a little bit about the space that the T-Tach is going to, not just that it's going to improve how the machine carries and utilizes attachments, but also some of the benefits for the skid steer itself that are going to be coming from the T-Tach. So Adam, why don't you jump on that?
Well, first and foremost, that question for Fernando should have been, what about Ron and Adam? Because the apple did not fall far from the tree. So as my family's watching this and thinking I fed that question to him to be about me, but the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Ron's got the exact same personality, and I'm very proud of the fact that I've taken after Ron.
Well, I got to say that when I'd come in, oh, hi, Ron, but you'd walk up, hey, Adam. You must have a,
well,
just
because
a golden
back in the old days, I signed the check. So
there you go.
Now you should see when he sees Bob.
Oh, geez, sorry, yeah.
Gonna name his next child or something after Bob. But Fernando, thanks for doing that.
Yeah, thank
Outstanding to work with you. But yeah, it's just they just talked about with the toolcat, right? This is this endless opportunity. And I truly believe it. It's like when vehicles came out with four-wheel drive. You didn't understand all the reasons and the times that you needed four-wheel drive because it gave you new opportunities to push your machine in different areas. And the T-Tach is the same thing, right? It's a partnership with the skid steers, and there's all sorts of different brands of skid steers. Our partnership to that is to allow operators to be more comfortable and more confident of all skill levels. Said this a lot of times with this T-Tach. It takes the real novice operator and it ups their game. It takes the person that's in the middle somewhere and it ups their game. It even takes the 1%ers like Ron and it ups their game. What it helps with the real heavy, like really good users like you, is it's comfortable to ride. You're not feeling everything as much. This rubber that I'm holding up, I look like that movie Say Anything, holding the rubber up, but it's able to take on that pressure so you inside the cab don't feel like you got had a workout when you're sitting out on that machine. Not that workouts are bad. John, he runs a lot, but workouts within that machine. But novice operators, I'm telling you guys, as you're starting companies, you're training new employees. It's a big cost. You can take that, put it onto a machine, and take a novice operator and make them really comfortable to go out and do the beginning things, which is leveling dirt, leveling gravel with the machine, and then moves into all the other things. It really just takes that skid steer and ups the game. Just so excited. Awesome job.
Thank you.
So we got a question here, and I think it's going to be a really good chance to clarify how this T-Tach, the effect of it. So Chris is wondering, how far will the T-Tach flex up and down along with side to side in inches? Now, I know we haven't thought about it in terms of inches, and it's obviously going to depend that the side to side, depending on how wide your attachment is, you're going to get some pretty big effects. I know when we saw it, we were filming with you, Ron, and we saw what it was doing with a Harley rake. My gosh, that Harley rake could just carve like a snowboarder going through some of the land that you were tilling there. But Ron, can you tell us a little bit about how you think about all the different axes and all the different ways in which the T-Tach moves itself? So there you go, Ron.
Yeah, it's a good question. I guess it'd be obvious to all of you, the wider the attachment, the more the end of the attachment's going to move. We do control that degree of movement. We don't want an attachment to fall in a hole or go down in a dip. The thing sits in a neutral position, if you can think about it, as you're going forward. Well, then it has resilience both up and down. So it, back to the experience of having it free float, to me didn't work. And that's why we came up with this. So we do control the movement, but to give you a number, just to throw something out there, 12 feet wide, probably 20 inches of movement out at the end of the attachment. The degrees, I can give you the degree of rotation on the arms, probably wouldn't mean a whole lot, but we do control the movement, which is important to making this work. So does that answer it as well as I can, I guess?
Heck yeah, that answer wins. And like Ron said, the wider the machine, that's a great question, how that starts to change as the machine goes up. So as you guys watch our videos, we'll show lots of videos showing it at different angles, coming out with those measurements. And they come in, and we see in the video, you guys saw this a little bit earlier with the sweeper. we had a really big company in the Midwest, one of the largest companies in the Midwest, that has been testing that with a broom for us. And I'm just going to talk about the broom a little bit on the front. Again, it's on a tool cat that they're running it on, not a skid steer, but a tool cat. And they're running that broom, and now they're following the ground, so they're not wearing out the bristles as quick as they used to, because it's got constant down pressure. Can't repeat that enough. It has constant down pressure. When you have constant down pressure, you're following the contour of the ground. So when you used to be on a point, you're pivoting down. I think I'm on this camera now. So when you'd be pivoting down, you'd be over here, and now all of a sudden this part of the broom's getting wore out. This part isn't touching the ground. Well, as you wear out that bristle, now all of a sudden when you get level ground like this, you're not level anymore. You're tilted. Actually, you'd be tilted this way because it's eating off that broom. So now by constantly following the ground. Now there's awesome attachments out there that are doing things within the attachment to allow it to float the ground.
Exactly.
We're not here to compete with them. No. Keep doing what you guys are doing because we're just enhancing that experience. We're all about the drive unit to do what you guys are also doing with your attachment. We're not here to compete with those attachments. We're here to enhance that experience for your drive unit. Right now, we're for skid steers. We're not stopping here, I don't believe. We never quite do. I see on that screen real quick, too. Pull that up before. It said T-Tach. It had some numbers on it because everybody loves to talk numbers.
You
especially the numbers when they're in black, not in red. Back to Bob again. Nope, not that number. Hide that one.
Yeah,
top secret. The one that said the 12, 20... Yeah, anyway. Well, there's on the T-Tach, it showed on the bottom, and it said the T-Tach on it. It was a logo, and it said 1220. So those numbers are important on there. It's not with the price of the machine, but when we run that, it says 1220. So what the 12 stands for is that this T-Tach, the current one, and we got, there it is. Yes.
You threw me for a loop there, Adam. I didn't know it was coming, but I'm sorry about that.
We've been working together for 5 years. I throw you in the loop every once in a while.
Apologies, thank you.
And by the way, John, you do an outstanding job. Appreciate you, your leadership in this company, your friendship, and yeah, John's just an outstanding person. But away from that, the 1220, that's what you guys are here for. And you can't hire John away from us because we got to keep him. That gets asked, and about Peter all the time, too. Everybody's trying to hire these guys to do a great job. But the 1220, this is what it means. The 12 stands for the weight of the machine. So the first T-Tach that's coming to the market is going to be for skid steers up to 12,000 pounds. That's what that stands for. Because the drive unit, that weight matters, right? When we get payloaders, different things in the future, that matters. So that's what the 12 stands for. Please do not push the envelope on that. I have grown up with a father who pushed the envelope on any trailer. The DOT can say this about muskox, and Ron often.
Quiet, no.
Is when we run to the weight anything, we're always pushing the envelope. Everybody does that in life. Follow this. We'll have additional products in the future, but very important, 12,000 pounds. The second number on the screen that he'll pull up again, I think. There it is 20. The 20 is for the road speed. Now, there's a lot of people that work in this company. One of the people that works in this company is Noah Bergman, who's actually sitting in the machine right now, and he's got
there. You can see his hand there.
Better hair. There he's waving. He's got a lot more hair than his father and his brother. The only Bergman with hair left. There he is, and a good-looking mustache back there, if I must say. The 20, that was an important thing for Noah, to identify the road speed of the machine, so that we're able to give you guys the best opportunity to fit to your machine. So the initial T-Tach, 12,000 pounds, up to 20 miles an hour. We're not stopping there. This is what we're coming to they introduce to the market with it. You guys saw it in the back. There's something about galvanizing. Peter, if you want to throw that on from the side view of it with your camera, showing between the machines. So when you guys see these running up and down the road, you guys can get jealous of it or not, but it's going to be galvanized. The galvanizing is to stick away from the attachment. And thank you to everybody out there building awesome attachments. We have so much respect for you guys. This is to sit in the middle. That color is going to stick out on that machine, but it's going to be galvanized, lowering rust. We went through a lot on that. We could have a whole show talking about how you guys got educated on galvanized, but it's galvanized, sticks between the units, and a common question on this is it's going to be universal. This is an ASV right? We run ASVs, we run John Deeres, we run Kubotas, we run Bobcats, we run Cats, we run every machine that's out there. We run, but this is universal to fit on any brand of skid steer. MUSKOX done an outstanding job of making that a reality to everybody. When I look back over that shoulder, there's a spindle on there, right there. Can you go up to that, Peter?
Well, that spring.
That spring.
A spring thing.
What is that all about?
We thought it looked kind of cool. You know, that it's for receiving radio waves. Actually, when we first built the T-Tach, then we hooked up hydraulic drive attachment, like our snowblower. Well, then to keep the hoses from getting pinched up and getting into things, we put on the spring, you feed the hoses through and up to your attachment, it allows it to flex. And I've done that before. I've bought attachments and the company got busy and didn't pay attention to controlling where the hydraulic hoses go. So that's really the purpose for that. Keeps your hoses out of the pinch point of the arms.
Yeah, it's taking that extra step, right? Like Ron talked about that. Taking that extra step as a operator, elite operator, not an elite operator. So a lot of these things end up happening from people at two opposite ends of the spectrum. Anyways, we talk about these machines. If John's got more questions, we will. But I do, and I speak for Ron just because I'm younger and sometimes remember things quicker than he does. But I speak for Ron in the sense of a huge shout out to Shane Hilliard, who has been with us the longest, my good buddy, my high school classmate, my friend for life, Tim Stordahl, and Paul Munger, who's been absolutely awesome, Noah Bergman, and Lucas Brown. Lucas Brown, we saw him earlier. He spends a lot of time with Ron when everybody else goes home at night. People go home at night because they got families, kids, all the things. Luke, we call him Little Ron, spends a lot of time with you. But a huge shout out to those guys. None of this happens with this MUSKOX. None of this happens with the T-Tach. They're part of the engineering. And then we have a great team here with Dean Phillips and Noah Ostina. Those two guys, they get the equipment in, they move things around. Dean keeps everything clean and organized in this shop, right? He's the guy when everybody comes in and has a cup of coffee.
He washes the dishes. He does everything. Yeah.
He orders everything and he makes sure everything goes out right. Sometimes those things get underappreciated because it's such a consistency that we have. This set, like, right, as John can attest, a few hours ago, people are sitting building things in this area and they clean everything up. So what a team effort out at this shop. Great sales team, great marketing team. Today is about the engineering. It's about the product. It's about the operator, but huge shout out to them. So anyway, they're your people. You got to work with them more often. I love them, but why don't you? I mean, they add so much to making these products.
I want to give a shout out to Adam, my son. Great job. He doesn't give himself enough credit for driving this whole program. Really, we've grown beyond where I thought we'd get. We're going there.
Yeah, we're way too emotional, as you guys see before. But yeah, thank you to that. And yeah, same with, I mean, Ron. Now we're probably down to just family and friends watching this, which is just fine. But I'm pretty damn lucky person to get to call him my dad, my friend, my mentor, and now for the last 5 years, my business partner. Took us a long time in life to get to that point to do it, but it's awesome. We're kicking ass. We're doing all the things, and we're leaning into this new product with outstanding people around us each and every day. And for who is still watching this and will edit and cut this video, let's be honest, 2024 wasn't an easy year for people that are in the attachment business or the equipment business. Our dealers that are out there, you're awesome people, and it's been a challenging year. Interest rates rose, snow didn't fall everywhere. It's been a real challenging year. It's things that we have head on, But a huge thank you to everybody that's out there. It's tough to always be preparing for things to happen when things aren't necessarily happening, the action isn't out there. So just a huge shout out to everybody in this industry, everybody we get to touch. We're there for you to make better products, and we just respect you guys during these times, and I can't wait to see what 2025 is going to bring. Anyway, we got winded there, John. Go ahead, interrupt us, please.
So what I will do is, first of all, yes, acknowledge that you guys deserve a tremendous amount of credit for bringing an unbelievable level of professionalism and an unbelievable team of talent together. I know Peter and I have been doing the live stream since we started in Ron's basement with Ron's dogs offering very valuable production assistance. And to see where this company has gone with the team of engineers and researchers and builders and of course, the financial wisdom and guidance from Bob, and of course, Travis and Cassidy doing stuff on the back end, like to have started in this little tiny, studio in your basement to now we're off doing this and seeing this new product launch. While we reflect on that, I do also want to momentarily note we should tell people what the T-Tach costs. So we haven't done that yet.
Got to do here real quick, John, is you work with some pretty outstanding sales guys. Why don't you give a shout out to them and the newest salesman?
Oh, geez, yeah, that's right.
So we have Mike Anderson with us. We've got Reed Anderson, no relation. In addition to that, Mr. Nate Tangen comes in, and is he up to how many? Nate's a very, very ambitious salesman, we'll say that. And last but not least, Mr. Cole Fossum, who just welcomed a beautiful bouncing baby into his world. Mr. Cole Fossum is going to be joining us as a salesman as well. I think he started yesterday. So great salesmen, and they will be reaching out to you if you are interested in the new blower, the 25 blower, and of course the T-Tach. So I'm going to go ahead and put that pricing on screen for the T-Tach, if I can find it right there. All right.
There it is. So the MUSKOX T-Tach torsion attachment, it's not here to compete with the attachments that you have right now.
Just add to it.
It's to add to it, exactly right. When you look at this, it's to add to your drive unit to enhance those awesome attachments that are out there. We're sure pretty proud of the MUSKOX, but I'm also very proud of a lot of the other products that are out there, and we're there to help you guys as operators. The world is changing, right? When we're hiring people, when we're growing as a business, the world is changing on how we hire people, how we train people. The T-Tach is there to lean into that. Like, just really excited as that market comes through. The price on the T-Tach is going to be $3,900. We've market tested that number. We've had people that say maybe you should sell it for more, not that much less that have used it. But anyway, $3,900 is going to be our price, but we're going to do the pre-order special running into April that we're going to have the first initial units at $3,500. For you watching, the galvanize is standard. We're not painting. We're galvanizing all of them. When you see color on them, those are decals on it. So everything's galvanized. So we did that extra work, effort, time to put into a galvanized product. So it'll rust less, it'll last longer. But we're real excited with that product. It's going to be $3,900 for a MUSKOX. Limited time. I sound like a good car salesman right now. $3,500.
Limited time only.
Yeah, for the next 42, 43 days, whatever.
Seconds. 42 seconds.
Yeah, there you go. So we love it. Love that price. You guys are going to see a lot more about that. You touched on the sales staff, John. You did an outstanding job on it. I want the camera on me for a second. All those people are outstanding. And special shout out to Mike Anderson, who's been with us from the beginning. He's been the manager to these guys, has evolved in a lot of different roles in this company with shipping, with sales. He's literally thrown in the deep end of the water. We're trying to get better at that all the time as we're growing more as a company. But special shout out to Mike from customers to dealers. They all do an outstanding job. Mike just happened to be the first one in the door, really helped believe in us and move this product forward. So thanks, buddy. You're outstanding.
With that, want to thank everybody for joining us live today, especially to all of you who are asking questions. John Borg, I think, wins the award for most comments and questions. John, I hope we've answered all of your questions. We will be reaching out to you about your TikTok page as well. Thanks to Brad. My gosh, who else is here? Shelby, thanks to Outdoor Solutions. Nathaniel noted that the T-Tach is going to be incredible on his skid steer. He uses brush mowers, so that's great. Yeah, I think thank you to everybody who's been reaching out to us and supporting us along the way. So, any last words, Adam?
I think we've said it all. Everybody out there, here's to just an outstanding 2025. From MUSKOX snowblowers to the T-Tach to every other dealer, every other attachment that's out there, we're all due outstanding year. We're looking forward to it. We're leaning into it, and I believe it's going to be the best year yet. So kudos to you, kudos to our team, kudos to Ron, kudos to everybody that does it. Kick some ass. I'll handshake you as we leave. Hell, I'll give you a hug. Love you, man.
Love you too, son.